Hey guys, and welcome to a new build review. Today we're going back to Jungle Shaco. Nonetheless, it's gonna be pretty interesting again, cause this build features Bloodrazer, a pretty uncommon item on Shaco, I would say. And again, the Korean player has a 62 win rate with it in 197 games. And I'm pretty sure that he was master before, but due to inactivity, he dropped down to diamond. Before I start, I want to mention that I will always express my thoughts when talking about the build. So if you think otherwise, disagree and so on, be sure to write it in the comments below. Again, this time I looked him up on OPGG, so I still have no replay. I found some on YouTube, but none of them uses the Bloodrazer build. So I'm going to show you some of my gameplay in the background again. For today's video, we're going to be looking at his Bloodrazer build. I'm saying that because he has another build with warriors too, which looks pretty similar to the one I used currently, but we probably will talk about that in another video. This build doesn't really change the way you play Shaco, so gameplay wise there's not much to talk about. His clear stays the same as well. When we talk about the items, I will talk about how they change and affect the playstyle. He also takes flash smite, like a lot of Korean Shacos I feel like. But now let's jump right into his build. The start of course is the same as with every build, going for a machete and a refillable potion. After that he either builds out the refillable potion to a hunter's potion and gets some longswords, or he buys time at first and gets it then. There's been some games where he didn't get a hunter's potion, but most of the time he does. Occasionally, instead of a hunter's, he gets a corrupting potion. But then he always buys it after time it or even later. This is also why I said the clear doesn't change at all, because he gets time at first anyway, so his clear is pretty damn nice. After that he goes for Bloodrazer, getting the skirmisher's saber first. So until this point we haven't even touched the attack speed at all. But now he does finish the razor and goes for boots of swiftness. He also for some time bought lucidity boots, but from the looks he was just trying it out for some game and went back to the swifties. Now comes an item which is still an item where I feel like there's a lot of debates about if it's worth to get or it's better to get Yumus. We're talking about Duskblade. Of course, whenever I mention it, at least one person in my Twitch chat says that it's OP because of the double proc on the clone. And before we go more into that, I want to mention if you have the Herald buff and this, the double proc burst damage is insane. It's also amazing to push with the Herald buff, which I get because your clone does the extra proc on the tower too, so it's easy to chunk them down. And with Bloodrazer, I can imagine that this is even faster then. But now coming back to Duskblade, I really do like the passive, but it can also be wasted very quickly. And I feel like the passive from Yumus can be so useful. For example, we just talked about it for pushing or catching squishies quickly or getting in or out of fight. But that's just my opinion. The constant speed buff that Duskblade gives and the higher 80 is nice too, but ultimately you gotta decide what you like more. Okay, enough talk about Duskblade I think. His next choice of item is most of the time a Starix Gauge and sometimes a Morphmal Molitus, but from what I've seen he really likes to get Starix, which is understandable because I feel like a lot of times when I go in on 80 carries for example these days, I sometimes get bursted quicker than I can burst, and with this build it makes even more sense because you need some time to do damage with your Bloodrazer. Next we're looking at another item that is great for going in and assassinating, a Phantom Dancer. I talked with someone in the comments who claims to be the official Shaco club owner in Korea. He said he had both of the people from my last builds in the club and also someone who builds Bloodrazer, so I came to this build. And also he told me that most of the people there prefer to get Phantom Dancer instead of Static Shift. I really like Shift for his clearing and the insta burst, and a lot of time I get both items, but I think that's probably preference again. In the end of his build he either builds his time out to a Ravenous or Titanic Hydra. In my opinion Titanic is still better. Even with the 80 nerf I feel like the burst is still nicer with the reset. It gives you some nice tanky stats as well, and the wave clear with it is awesome. With this attack speed build even more, you can shred down the backline with the nice AoE cone. But when you like the 80 and the lifesteal more, then Ravenous is the way to go. When I started playing League, I felt like lifesteal was such an OP stat. Getting back life for hitting things, how OP. but now I prefer quick damage and some more overall health. The masteries are standard Thunderdowns again. He takes natural talent over vampirism. I think in my last two reviews they took that too. His runes are more interesting though. He goes 980 marks, 6 health per levels and 3 armor seals. I'm not quite sure if it does make more sense to just commit to health or armor, but I guess a mix isn't too bad either. He did the same with glyphs, 6 ability power glyphs and 3 magic resist. For Quinns he takes 3 attack speed. If we look back to the last one, I think he took 380, so both is being played. I like a mix of both, 2 attack speed and 180, but of course preference again. Other than that, there's not much more to say. I would really appreciate it if you would give me your opinion in the comments below. Also, I'm streaming pretty much every day in the evening, so if you want to join in and watch some Shaco gameplay or just have a nice little chat, you can do that. I hope you're having an amazing day. See ya. But ultimately, holy fuck. But ultimately, oh my god. But ultimately, oh, what the fuck. But ultimately, what? Oh my god. But ultimately, oh my god. But ultimately, oh, what the fuck. But ultimately, ultimate. Am I fucking retarded? Ultimately. What? No, that's... But ultimately, you gotta decide what you like more.